Welcome to the Couch Effect. Roll the intro. Billy the Kid. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
I was telling you before, I had a quick look at your Instagram and most people that listen to the podcast, they know that generally I try and get people on here that are inspiring or in influential positions and people that we can relate to. So after looking at your page, all I felt when I looked at your page was happiness. Generally, like I saw a person that was humble and showed a lot of empathy, and I think it's a massive reason why I got you on here today. So what I wanted to say, how did you get to where you are today? Why did you become the person you are today?
Well, I guess it just came down to like hard work and dedication and being committed to the promises that I made myself when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Obviously I started boxing at a very young age, and I was super determined from the get-go to achieve greatness.
Yeah.
And maybe I did or maybe I didn't, but the goals that I set to achieve, I achieved.
Yeah.
And obviously anything that came on top was just a cherry on top, but I had goals, and my goal was to, number one, be an Olympian. That didn't happen due to unfortunate circumstances, and then my second goal was to become a world champion, and to do that twice over, and to have defended my title on several occasions. That's an achievement that only people can dream of. So
yeah.
I'm very grateful for that. And you're talking about my Instagram page. I just try to be as real as possible. I try to be somebody who inspires others. Yeah. Somebody who allows people to feel that he's real.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people paint this fake picture on social media, cars, watches, the bling and all that stuff. And I try not to do that because, not everyone can afford those things.
That's right.
And I try to keep it as real as possible. I try to connect with people on a level playing ground.
Yeah.
And I try to show as much love as I can to my loved ones as well.
Yeah. I see that a lot. You've got a lot of photos of your nieces and stuff like that on your page, and a lot of family shots.
Definitely. I got a lot of family shots. I have a lot of photos of my nieces on there and my nephews, but the only person that I don't put on there, I don't know why, but I feel like I need to protect him, is my son.
Oh, really?
So since having my son, I've posted nothing that shows his face, and everyone wonders what he looks like now, but I've just made a decision to keep him.
Yeah, and that's something consciously you wanted
private.
to.
Yeah, definitely. With my niece, Sophia, who's my sister's daughter, there's a special bond there because in 2015 I was married to a girl by the name of Sarah who passed away.
Oh, sorry to hear.
No, it's okay. And then but her and Sarah were born on the same day.
Really?
And so the bond is there because of that situation, and it's just remained there. She was born 1 year before Sarah passed away, and so they were born the same. Sarah absolutely loved her, and so that's what keeps me close to my niece. It's
really?
Like that connection that it's an unbreakable connection, So I have got thousands of photos of her in my phone. It's like, it's a bond that's unbreakable. And I think I love all my nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
Unconditionally.
Yeah.
But there's just something about this little girl. She's had my heart from the start, what I mean? So
it's almost like it's like an angel, man. It's like the carry on.
Man, it's crazy because when Sarah did pass away, so Sophia was only one, but she knew. She would say things like Sarah to me, and I remember taking her to the graveyard once to visit Sarah, and she started like playing around Sarah's grave, and she was saying Sarah, and I was like, yeah, wow. So the connection is undoubtedly like it's a genuine connection, you know. But in regards to the social media stuff, I've tried to really slow down on posting a lot of things on her and stuff, because I think now she's getting older and got to start being more protective of my loved ones.
It is a bit weird on social media sometimes. It can be like you don't know who's looking at things. And
it's a lot of weirdos out there.
Yeah.
And I just try to keep it as I said, as respectful as possible and
Yeah.
as real as possible.
Yeah, that's the way, man. Like I said, like you're an influential person, and there's in a world full of influencers. I think you're more of like you're actually in a position of leadership and I'm sure you're following, if like me, man, only for a short amount of time like me, but I learnt so much like about you simply from little posts that you put.
Yeah, like I said, man, it's all about being real, and as you said, there is a lot of influencers out there, but these people, some of them are influencers, but how real is what they're putting out there? You know what I mean? It's like,
that's what I mean.
For me, it's real life. This is my real life journey, what I've been through. I've been through the ups and downs. I've had setbacks. I've tried to tackle every obstacle in my life head on. And I've always found a way out. And like Sarah's death was a major hit and a major blow, but I found a way out. I finally got remarried, had a beautiful child.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. So, one thing that's important for me is to show people that, after the dark, there's light.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to shed some light upon people.
Yeah, that's amazing. I wanted to ask you, like, you said you always knew you wanted to be like the champ or an Olympian, or you wanted to be the champ. How does that feel like? Because a lot of population doesn't know what they want to do. Growing up, there's kids that think they want to be a fireman at 13 years old, and then at 20 they're like, I don't know what I want to do. You know what I mean? Like it's what does that feel like to know it? This is what I want.
Well, for me, I walked into the gym when I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
I was a kid that was bullied at school. I was what you call a delinquent child, I think, after getting picked on at school so often, and, you start to turn into this, I don't know, resilient sort of person. But I was resilient to some effect, but other times I would let it affect me a lot. And then obviously when I walked in the gym, it just really changed my life. I knew from the minute that I walked into the gym. I remember the day I walked into the gym, I saw two people in the ring and they were fighting each other, and I was like, this is unbelievable.
Really?
I was like, this is incredible. Two people are fighting each other and nobody's stopping it. And I was like, this is what it's all about. This is definitely me all over, because obviously, a fight breaks out at school, people break it up.
Yeah.
But this was like, I'd only seen it on the TV. I'd never seen it in real life. To see two guys going at it, and I was like, man, this is definitely what I want to do. So right from the get-go, I became so connected to the sport, and I was eager to learn. And I remember I was only boxing twice a week at the PCYC in Sutherland, but I told my dad, I said, I need to get a bag. I need to put a boxing bag up in the house, and I did. We put a bag up in the garage area, and I'd go down there, and like on the days that I wasn't training at the gym, I'd be doing my own workouts, hitting the bag, or practicing things that I'd learned at the gym. And then as time progressed and I got better and better, my dad allowed me to go 3 days a week, then 4 days a week, then 5 days a week. And so then, I changed gyms. I moved to a gym in Mortdale and just continued to chase that dream. Like by the age of 17, I had 113 amateur fights.
Wow.
I had 98 wins and 15 losses.
Wow.
I was I was all but going to the Olympic Games. Like I was convinced I was going to the Olympic Games. I was the Australian champion numerous years in a row. I'd won a lot of international bouts. I was rated very highly, and then just before the Olympic game trials began, I did something that probably was stupidity on my end, but I decided to get a motorbike license. And just a few weeks before the trials, I had a motorbike accident and caused so much damage to my hands and my legs, and I was so determined to continue to fight through it. So I trained with the pain of, having no skin on my arms, my knuckle areas, and all the skin was gone from here. All the skin from my elbow was gone. And then I wasn't in the greatest shape, but I thought I was in decent shape. And I fought at the trials, and basically I just couldn't perform.
Wow.
I didn't perform to my standard, and I got beat, and basically the dream of the Olympic Games was done and dusted.
Yeah.
So being 17 years old, and I thought, well, I've got to wait till another Olympic Games and I'm going to be 21. So I didn't want to wait another 4 years. just wanted to turn professional from that point. I was like, you know what, that's it. I'm going to put it behind me. And it's crazy. This is a story. I mean, it's I guess it's out there, but not a lot of people know. But after missing out on the opportunity to represent Australia at the Olympic Games, Lebanon came to the rescue and offered the opportunity to represent them. But my dad was so against it, and he didn't allow me to basically put the Lebanon flag on my shoulders. And he was like, "Nah, mate, you were born and raised in Australia." And
really,
yeah. So my dad, I was like, "Dad, but this is my dream." He's like, "Well, it was your dream, but no one told you to get on that motorbike."
Yeah, wow.
You know, he goes, "You did that out of your own accord. That's what's happened. That's what's written for you. So just leave it there, you know. You want to wait till the next Olympic Games, you got 4 years."
Wow.
I was like, "I'm not going to do that." And if I had waited another 4 years, I would have had at least in 4 years, another 100 fights, no problem. So I would have been much more experienced. But that was it. I had to put it behind me, and I just turned pro. I decided to, at a young age, my childhood hero was a fighter by the name of Nassim Hamed.
Yeah.
And so I traveled, I actually, through some connections and through the grace of God, I was able to meet him.
Wow.
And we had a chat and stuff, and I stayed with him for like weeks on end. And he advised me, look, when you go home, turn pro and just start from there. So I came home. I had a couple of more amateur fights. Wanted to make sure that I left on a good note.
Yeah.
So I had a couple of good wins as an amateur to finish it off. And then once I was like 18 and a half, I turned pro. So actually, I turned pro just a few days shy of my 19th birthday.
Wow. Yeah,
and I had a good win. And then not even 3 years later, I was rated really highly in the world. And by the age of 20, just before or just after my 22nd birthday, I fought for the IBO Super Featherweight World Title, and I won that IBO World Title. But basically, you know, my dream was to become world champion, you know.
Yeah.
And I used to say, wow, if I just get this world title, I'll die the happiest man alive. But then after I won that, I wanted more, you know. And that's how the human body is, or the human mind is. We always want more.
Yeah.
You know, we never satisfied, and I guess that's the mind of a fighter, you know what I mean, is not to be satisfied and to continue to chase. And so my next fight, I challenged for another world title and had a loss. You know, so I had a setback, and then I had to find a way out of that setback. And the way I found a way out of that was to just basically go on a journey of life. And I went to the city of Mecca on a holy pilgrimage when I was 23 years of age, and just asked God for some guidance. And because, you know, being undefeated from the age of, like, say 18 to the age of 23 and to lose was like,
don't know what it feels like.
Yeah, I'd never lost as a pro. So, you know, I was 21 wins and 1 loss, and you know, I didn't expect that for myself. I thought that I was going to retire undefeated one day, and I was going to be one of the greats. And so I started, you know, getting back on the rebuild, found a new trainer, started a new journey, and then just 10 fights later, I'd become champion of the world again. Wow. So I went on to become a 2-time world champion in 2 weight divisions. And, you know, obviously I wanted more from that point, and progressively I won fights. And then, you know, when you're up there against the top tier fighters, it's a 50-50. You know, you're coming with your game plan, they come with theirs. You've worked hard, they've worked hard, and it just...
Who executes it better.
Exactly, you know, and sometimes, you know, the stars don't align on that night, and you end up with a defeat. And, you know, that happened to me on several occasions. But the one thing about me is that I always had resilience, and I always found a way back. And the thing they say is that, you know, the certain mottos that you take in your life and sort of certain phrases. And one of the mottos that I lived by was refuse to lose. Yeah. And a lot of people say to me, how can you say you refuse to lose, that you've lost? And I say, well, listen, it's not the fact that I don't refuse, that I've lost it. I said, I refuse to lose, and the meaning of that means that I refuse to give in. So yes, we suffer setbacks in life. Yeah. And, you know, whether each and every human that I know believes this or not, but every day in life you're losing, because with each hour that passes, that's an hour of your life that's lost. Within each day that goes by, that's a day of your life that's lost. A week, you're lost. So with every single day, at every single moment, you're losing. Yeah. Because time is something you can never get back. Yeah. So you're losing. Yeah. And, you know, and then time passes on, and you lose loved ones. Yeah. and sometimes in life you lose, you lose your finances. You have setbacks. But the one thing it is that I refuse to lose. I refuse to give in. So refusing to lose doesn't mean that you won't lose.
No.
Refusing to lose means that even if you lose, you refuse to give in.
That's right.
And that you'll always find a way to get back up and continue to strive.
Yeah.
And that's what I've done.
That's amazing, man. That's that's like that saying, like winners never quit, quitters never win.
That's right.
And I think, like it's like you decide not to put a full stop on your life, and only really, like if you're a religious man, only really God can decide when that time is.
That's right. So that's the thing for me in life. You continue to push and strive, and my thing is now in my life, like I've achieved what I've achieved in boxing, and the thing is, I just like to end it on a good note. Yeah. And sometimes you don't get that chance. And the thing is, a lot of kids out there who are boxing today go throughout their whole career and don't even get an opportunity to fight in a world title fight. Yeah. My professional career is 46 wins and 6 losses. Yeah. And 5 of those 6 losses were in world title fights. Wow. Or 50-50 fights. Wow. So in my professional career, I've had 11 world title fights. I've won 6 and lost 5. You know what I mean? So and the only other loss that I've had was a novelty sort of fight against Amir Khan. Yeah. Me jumping up to welterweight, which is like crazy for a featherweight, super featherweight to move up to welterweight. But the opportunity was so, just you lick your lips at an opportunity like that, you know what I mean? And
where was that fight at?
It was in Saudi Arabia. So it was the first time that a boxing show took place in Saudi Arabia. It was a historic event and I wanted to be a part of it. And so I was actually fighting on the undercard, and then Amir Khan's opponent injured himself, and I was the only guy that could fill in. And they're like, "Do you want to fill in?" I was like, "Man, I'm only a featherweight, super featherweight." And they're like, "It's up to you. We'll make sure that it's a financially rewarding opportunity." And I was like, I'm gonna take it, man. It's a novelty thing, and even if you win, it's amazing. You lose, and people will say, "Oh well, he's a little guy that lost to a big man, so what's the big deal?" You know what I mean? Yeah. You don't lose any momentum in a fight like that. That's right. The only thing is you can gain. Yeah. But if he loses, then he obviously that puts him in a major decline. But he was expected to win. Yeah. I didn't think he was gonna win, but things in boxing happen. That's the way it goes.
Yeah. What are your thoughts like going into fights? Like, I know obviously I see like fighters now. They're like, you can't have an inch of doubt in your mind.
Yeah. Well, like every time I step in the ring, again, I have the mindset of I refuse to lose. Yeah. And it's the way I get that mindset going is that I think to myself, it's sort of like going to school. It's sort of like an exam at school. If you never studied for your exam, you went into that exam room. Yeah. When it was time for that test, you were freaking panicking. You know what I mean? But if you studied, you went in with all this confidence. And that's the same thing as boxing. If you've prepared well enough, then you have that confidence in your ability that, well, I've done the rounds. So I put in the hard yards. I've done the Ks. So I know my tank's there. Yeah. I've got the ability to do this. So you go in with that little bit of confidence, you know what I mean? And there's always a little bit of nerves, but that nerves is what keeps you sharp. Yeah. So, I am obviously, I love the sport, man. I loved it. Yeah. And I always wanted to win. So I always worked extremely hard. I never in my life left one stone unturned. That's one thing that I could say in my career. I've got 6 losses, but in each one of those losses, it was a 50-50 situation. Yeah. You know what I mean? I was up against the best in the world. Yeah. And when you're in a situation like that, it takes a special human like a Floyd Mayweather or, to overcome all of his opponents. Yeah. Everyone comes with a game plan. 100%. You know what I mean? And then, but in life, the only thing that happens to you is what God's written. And if it was written for me to be undefeated to today, that would have happened. Yeah. But had God had written for me to go through the certain, how can I say this?
Challenges.
The challenges and the hurdles. So Sarah's death was a major hurdle. Yeah. Losing fights was a major hurdle. But when I was a kid, I had things that I feared as a kid. Yeah. Obviously, prior to boxing, I didn't fear anything as a kid. I was 12 years old. I had no fear. Maybe my biggest fear at the time was going to school and getting into a fight because that was happening nearly on a daily basis. But my biggest fear when I started boxing as an amateur was to lose an amateur fight. The embarrassment. I was scared of the embarrassment of losing.
Yeah.
Then when I turned pro, my biggest fear was to lose a pro fight, because I was like, man, this would be embarrassing. You know, all your friends there. And yeah, it's televised and all that sort of business. The other fear that I had was losing a loved one, and then that happened. So anything that's been hurtful towards me in my life has happened to me, and I've managed to overcome it. So I've always found a way out, and I'll always continue to find a way out until obviously the time comes when my clocks run up, and that's it.
Right, yeah. You said that it stemmed from so when you walked into that gym at 12, you said that it stemmed from fights that you had previously or being bullied. So what was happening? Like, I mean, for fights to happen on a regular occasion, like.
Well, we grew up in an area in the Sutherland Shire, and
okay.
you know, in early I was born in '85, so I was at school my first year of school was 1990. People had this ignorance about, you know, they don't like what looks different, and you know, me and my siblings went to a school where predominantly it was white kids with blonde hair, and here we were, these kids with brown eyes, black hair, dark skin complexion, you know, so people fear what's different. So we got picked on a daily basis.
Really?
I mean, so yeah, so like I remember going to school, and certain times I would see, you know, a mark on my t-shirt or whatever, and I'd have to turn back and go home, because I thought like that was going to be
they're going to pick on you for that.
Yeah, they'd pick on me. Anything I did, like I got picked on for, you know what I mean? So, and then so once I started boxing, that was just my dad's wisdom, you know. I mean, my dad was smart. He was really, really smart. My dad is a very wise man, and he actually didn't put me in boxing. He put me in football. So he said, listen, the way we're going to tackle this is we're going to put you guys in after school sports, and you guys are going to make friends with these kids outside of school, so that when you go to school, they'll be cool with you guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I started playing for a football team called Bosco Bulldogs.
Yeah.
And as a young kid, the Rocky franchise was a massive TV franchise, you know what I mean? It was a massive on, you know, like on video cassette, and was huge. And I was a massive Rocky fan. So I used to watch all these Rocky movies. That's what I thought boxing was. I never knew that boxing was like, I actually thought watching Rocky movies that this was like real life fights, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Didn't realize it was all acting. And so when I went to football training one day, the trainer pulled out some pads and some gloves and said, we're going to do some boxercise today. So he tipped out like 20 pairs of pads, 20 pairs of gloves, and we were going to boxercise today. And when he pulled out the pads and the gloves, I just put them on and started messing about. And then the trainer was like, mate, have you ever boxed before? And I said, nah. But I've watched heaps of Rocky movies. That's a true story, you know? And he's like, can you do what you just did on the pads one more time? I was like, yeah. It's a bang, bang. I hit the pads. And he's like, listen, I think you're onto something.
Wow.
And I said, really? And he goes, yeah. He goes, listen, mate, you got natural talent. And he's like, tell your father to take you to Sutherland PCYC and speak to a trainer by the name of Rusty Penton. Never forget him in my life. I'm still friends with him till today. I was 12 years of age, and I walked in the gym. I walked into the gym, I had my gloves on already.
Yeah.
I knocked on the door with my elbow for them to open. And I walked in the gym, and like I said to you, from the minute that I walked in there, it was like instant love. I fell in love right away. I'd found my love, my first love. And then my dad, going back to my dad being a smart man, you know, I was obviously getting into trouble at school all the time. Principals forever calling my dad. So my dad, he recognized that I love boxing so much. He just saw it. And he said, listen, if you don't do well at school, you can't go to boxing on a Tuesday and a Thursday. I said, Dad, please. He said, listen, don't get into trouble and you can box. Get into trouble, there's no boxing. So sometimes you push the envelope as a kid, and my dad stuck true to his word. You're not going to boxing today. Dad, please, I'm begging you. It was an accident. I said, nah, forget it. Just give it a rest. You know, and then times I would keep going. I said, listen, because you've kept going, you're not going on Thursday either. Come on, Dad, please. Nah. So I quickly learned my lesson. And I went from the back of the class to the front of the class. I went from failing in class to passing in class, because my father had said, you know, you don't do well, you don't get to box. And I love the sport so much. The sport of boxing saved me. You know, it helped me attain an education. And then when I finally got to the point where I'd, you know, finished year 10, and I was like, I don't want to go to school anymore. I got a phone call from the Australian Institute of Sport saying we'd like to invite you to live at the AIS. And so I ended up moving to the AIS and doing school at the AIS, which was via so it was like via correspondence.
Yeah.
And then when I finished that and I finished from the AIS, when I got back, my brother was like, listen, what are you going to do, for life after boxing? I said, nothing. I'm going to be champion of the world. He said, yeah, but you need a fallback. And I said, there's no need for a fallback because I'm going to be champion of the world. You're not hearing the words coming out of my mouth. I was super confident in who I was going to be.
Yeah.
He's like, I understand that. He said, but listen, let's just say, God forbid you have a car accident and you can never box again. What then? And you've invested all this time. I said, all this negativity. And he goes, no, this is real life, mate.
Yeah.
My brother Jihad is a politician today.
Yeah.
And he was the principal of Punchbowl Boys High School, and he was very anal about my education. So I said, you know what? Leave it to me. Give me a few days. So I went, caught up with one of my friends, say, hey, what are you doing? He said, I'm going to do real estate. I said, you know what? I'm doing real estate.
Real estate.
So I went home. Brother says, what are you doing? I said, listen, I've decided I'm going to do real estate course. He goes, perfect, mate. He goes, you could talk underwater, so you'd be all right. You could sell ice to an Eskimo. I said, yeah. Anyway, so I took up real estate at Bankstown TAFE.
Yeah.
Got a diploma in real estate, got registered and put it in a drawer and said, that's it. I'm never going to be a real estate agent in my life. So what do you mean? I said, because I'm going to be the champion of the world. You're not hearing me.
Yeah.
I don't need this. I'm going to focus on boxing. So once I had that and I put it in a drawer, my dad was happy. He knew that I'd finished my education. I'd put myself in a position that if anything ever happened, real estate would be the fallback and just chase your dreams.
Wow.
And that's what I did.
Wow.
And now I'm at that point in my career where obviously the curtain's coming close to coming down, and I'm trying to find that next phase of life. Yeah. But thankfully, by the grace of God, I've done all right financially, and so now I'm going to get into some building stuff and getting into. I'm being mentored now by a guy by the name of Sid, who is a life coach. Yeah. And he's teaching me how to deliver amazing, inspirational speeches. Yeah. About my real life story. Yeah. Because you see people go through certain things in their life and they lose loved ones and they don't know how to get out from it. They fall into depression. They fall into drugs. Yeah. Well, I've got the recipe. I know how to get out of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I know. You've lived it. I went through it. It's real life. Yeah. It's not a picture that somebody's painting for you. So that's right. I'm going to hopefully one day travel the world, trying to inspire others. And I guess one of the speakers that really has influenced me is a guy by the name of Inky Johnson.
Yeah, I've heard of Inky.
Inky Johnson was a NFL player who injured himself, and so he's my inspiration. He's the reason why I want to do that. Yeah. So, you have certain people who inspire you during your life. Definitely. When I was boxing, I was inspired by people like Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Naseem Hamed, Anthony Mundine. Yeah. People like that. People like who I
was in your world,
my era. You know what I mean? Even though Muhammad Ali wasn't my era, but Muhammad Ali is everybody's era. That's right. Greatest fighter of all times. Yeah. So I was inspired by people like themselves. And now going into the next phase, I'm trying to find inspiration from other people. Yeah. So, obviously watching documentaries on, people who have gone on to inspire the world, people like Michael Jordan, Inky Johnson. Yeah. That's what I love to do now. So I'm preparing myself for that next phase of life.
This is like a soft version of that, man. Like, this is why I do this. Like, I want people like you to be able to not only, like, I feel like everyone, has a voice that, wants to be heard. And everyone has a voice that, deserves to be heard as well. Yeah. And your story is like, nothing short of that. I've seen as well what you've done with Creighton, since he was bullied and stuff. And I remember you talking to his mum on an Instagram live. I think I tuned in for a bit, and you said to her, I didn't catch the full thing, but you said, I want you to do something with your followers now. I can't remember exactly what you said, but he's got I think he has 400,000. Yeah. And I think you said, because they were talking about, how all the bullshit was coming out about his age and all that stuff. And you said, I want you to use the platform for good and for love and stuff like that. So take us through, take us through what you were teaching.
Yeah, so
Creighton.
but basically, when I remember that day clearly.
Yeah.
My son was just born, and my wife was breastfeeding my son at the same time watching this thing that had come out by Creighton's mother.
Yeah.
And she started tearing up. I was like, "What's wrong?" And she's like, "You got to watch this." And I was like, "What is it?" And she showed me, and when I watched it, I was so infuriated.
Yeah.
Like, I can't explain to you how infuriated I was. And I was like, my wife's like, "You know what you should do, Bill? You should reach out to his mum and speak to her and tell her that you want to offer him boxing classes and whatever, and just inspire the kid, you know?" So I said, "You know what? Let's do that." So we wrote her a message. Or actually, my wife wrote a post on my Facebook saying, "We're looking for anybody that can put us in touch with Creighton's mother."
Yeah.
And not even 5 minutes later, people bombarding me with inbox messages saying, "This is her number." So I rang her, and she picked up, and I said, "My name's Billy Dibb." And she's like, "Oh my God, Billy Dibb, how you doing?" I was like, "Good." She's like, "Man, we are big fans."
Wow.
And I was like, "Listen, it's my obligation to reach out to you. I need you to put me in touch with your son. I need you to let me meet him, and I need to be there for you guys." And she's like, "You're unbelievable. You're amazing." And I was like, "Listen, I'm promising you right now, I'll fly you guys down to Sydney, and I'll train Creighton, even though probably won't help much, but I just want to show him that there's a lot of love for him."
Yeah.
And I didn't have to fly him down. She flew down herself, and she brought him down, and we hung out, and I invited him to my mother's house, my father's place. Everyone gave him hugs. We all showed him love.
Yeah.
And now today, I could say that he's probably one of my little good mates. You know what I mean? Like, me and his mum are really close.
Yeah.
His mum's a beautiful person, and and I wanted. The reason why we decided to go live that day was to put an end to a lot of the stuff that had been said.
She had the passport out, I saw.
Everything. So, I told her, I said, "Listen, let's just put an end to it." You know what I mean? Stop with the negativity. And then my advice to Creighton was, listen, 5 days or 5 months ago, whatever, you didn't have no platform. Now you've got this platform. God's given it to you. This is your opportunity now to shine light upon others.
Yeah.
People that are going through the same situation that you're going through.
Yeah.
This is your opportunity now to make a difference in the world with the platform that you have. Don't use it to post the wrong things.
That's right.
Use it to post great things.
Yeah.
Things that are going to inspire others.
Yeah.
And he is really taking that advice.
Yeah.
And he's doing really, really well, and I'm really, really proud of him. And his mum's an amazing, amazing human.
Yeah.
And they have got definitely a big future ahead of them.
Yeah. I saw a lot of his, that when it happened, for people that don't know what it is, it was basically a video of this poor kid crying to his mum and saying he didn't want to live anymore. How old is he?
Give me a knife, I want to kill myself.
Yeah, and he's like, how old?
He's
very young.
He's very young, bro.
Very young.
Very young. For a kid, my thing was, how does a kid his age even know about this? Give me a knife, I want to kill myself.
Yeah.
Wow, man. That's what disturbed me.
He was 9 or something like that. 9 years
old.
old.
I'm like, that could be my son one day, you know what I mean? And I might not be around, mate. So the thing is, I'm a realist, man. I'm here today, but I could leave you right now and die in a car accident on the way home.
Yeah.
I'm a realist. I know things can happen, man. I might not be there for my son, man. So, but maybe if I'm not, one day somebody will see what I did for Creighton. They'll be like, man, Billy did reach that. I'm going to reach out to his wife and see what I can do to help. That's
amazing, man.
That's what it's all about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the way I think about life. I think life is a cycle of, you do good, good will come back.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like you saw an opportunity there, and like you spoke about before, you said, you want to inspire people, and it's because you've felt it. You've felt what it feels like to be in the dumps, with certain things, and that's now Creighton's got that opportunity as well.
Man, the thing is that everything that's happened in my life is written by God. And God gave me success in boxing to have a platform. And what's the point of having a platform if you're not going to use it to spread love and peace and harmony? Yeah. And that's what my thing is, man. It's like I'm trying to do everything I can now to help others, because I feel that that's only, because they say, when your time comes and your time in life runs up, it's all the good that you've done to others that will help you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, in the afterlife. So my thing is like, I just want to help people, I just want to inspire others and show love and use the platform that God's given me to spread peace and love. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. You let's talk about those 6 losses. Now let's not call them losses, man. Let's call them lessons and little, speed bumps in the road. What did you take away? I mean, you said you lost once, right? And you said 10 years later you had made it, or 10 fights later or something like that, you had made a comeback and you had won. What did you learn like from each of those losses or lessons?
Well, in the first loss of Stephen Leweveno, the lesson that was taken from that fight was that I took the fight on short notice.
Yeah.
But I was prepared, but I did take it on short notice, and I was in a rush.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I wanted things yesterday.
Yeah.
Not today, yesterday.
Yeah.
And when the opportunity came up to win another world title in another weight division, I was like, man, I got to get it. So, and I didn't analyze the situation properly.
Yeah.
I rushed. I was young. They say you're young and dumb.
Yeah.
And I was young and dumb.
We don't know, like young, you don't really know that, the art of patience and.
Nah, not at all. I didn't know. I probably still don't know that today.
Yeah.
But I learned lessons from that. And so when I came back and regrouped and I hired a new trainer, and the trainer's exact words to me was, we're not going to fight for another world title for at least 10 fights. I want you to reshape your whole career. I want you to reshape your style. I want you to get more aggressive. And that's exactly what we did, even though we got offers in between to fight for a big fight, and we just didn't take it. We just stayed focused on the task.
Yeah.
And when I became champion of the world, I defended that title again on several occasions before losing it to a Russian kid.
Yeah.
Again, we took this fight. I was in a really bad financial situation because I hadn't fought in such a long time. So I had mortgages to pay and bills to pay, and so I took the fight because I was forced into taking it.
Yeah.
Because the original opponent that I had pulled out, then I had another opponent that pulled out, and then another one that pulled out, and then I finally got this guy on like 4 weeks' notice.
Yeah.
Didn't know really much about him, and the fight just turned pear-shaped. It was one of those fights. I really did win the fight.
Yeah.
But somehow the judges found a way to give it to him. The referee took a point off me, and I think it was like round 9. That made the difference in the whole fight.
Wow.
That point was the difference in me winning and defending my world title for the 3rd successful time, or losing it. And unfortunately, I lost it. And then I had the rematch against Gradovic, and again, he beat me in the rematch. It was just like things just weren't falling into place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, it's not like I wasn't preparing well enough.
Yeah.
But the way I looked at it, man, was like, I always felt, and the only thing that helped me get through life to this point is that everything that happens in your life is written by God.
Yeah.
You can't change that.
Yeah.
What's decreed for you is decreed.
Yeah.
And you can't change the decree.
Yeah.
Right? So this is what God had written for me. And I always found a way to come back and get over it, because I always said this is what God had written.
Yeah.
If I was meant to be, defending my title 15 or 20 times undefeated, then God would have had that happen.
Yeah.
But it wasn't written. Maybe the fights that I lost would have led to big multi-million-dollar paydays.
Yeah. That
would have changed me as a person, turned me into an arrogant person.
Mm.
Maybe I would have bought a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or a SLR or something like that. Maybe I would have drove it into a wall, killed myself.
Yeah.
God does everything for a reason. So I don't question God's decree and God's will. I just say, thank you, God, for allowing me to have what I have.
Yeah.
Thank you, God, for protecting me.
And for the lessons.
For allowing me to have 46 wins and 6 losses and still to come out and still be able to speak on this podcast without slurring and without stuttering. How many people can get through a career of over 50 fights and still have their faculties intact?
Yeah.
That's what I'm glad about, and that's what I'm proud about.
Yeah. I saw on your Instagram and I think it was on Sporting News that you were thinking of having another fight.
Yeah. So I'm actually I'm in the gym now preparing. Obviously, thank God that gyms are reopened now.
Yeah, thank
So
God.
I'm back in the gym, but
I've got a job now.
I never stopped training. I was still training a couple of days a week, but I'm in talks with a fighter by the name of Abner Mares, who is a childhood friend of mine.
Really?
Yeah, we knew each other since we were 14 years of age. We traveled the world representing Mexico, me representing Australia.
Wow.
So we met at all these international tournaments, became really cool friends. Then once upon a time, we were signed to the same promotional company, which was Golden Boy Promotions.
Yeah.
That was headed by Oscar De La Hoya, Shane Mosley, and Bernard Hopkins.
Wow.
So we were always like pretty like, around each other, but we always fought in separate weight divisions. We always decided to move up to super featherweight, and I was like, listen, well, we've talked about it for years. Let's just get it done. So we're in talks about it now. Whether it'll happen, it may happen, it may not happen. We're in negotiation period right now, but I think if it does happen, it'll be around August, September.
Wow.
It's pretty exciting. I mean, the possibility of happening is very exciting, but whether it does or it doesn't is another story. Yeah. But we are trying to find a way to make it happen. And
do you want that to be a stepping stone to another fight, or do you want it to just be your last fight?
I just feel like it's a legacy fight.
Yeah.
This is one of those legacy fights. It's one of the ones that could be satisfying enough to say, you know what, wow.
Yeah.
I've ended this on a great note.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that if you beat a guy like Abner Mares, that opens other doors. So it would all just depend on what the offer was and what the opportunity was. I'm not going to be a body for an up and comer. That's not the plan for me.
Yeah.
I'm a veteran of the sport now. Yeah. So I'm only looking for veterans. Yeah. I'm not trying to be somebody's stepping stone. Yeah. What I've achieved. And obviously, for kids coming up now, if they could put my scalp on their record, it looks good for them. But I'm not going to be the person that lets that happen.
Yeah, it's smart that you know that. You see so many people, like so many boxers go in and just do that and they tarnish themselves.
Yeah, so I'm not going to allow that to be me.
Yeah. Someone asked me to ask you this. I didn't even know this was a thing, but your relationship with 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was 27 years of age, and I was champion of the world, 50 Cent signed me up alongside Floyd Malver.
Wow.
To a company called TMT Promotions.
Yep.
And
everyone would be familiar with that. Yeah.
So then I flew to America to catch up with 50 Cent and Floyd Malver. And at the time that I was flying, Floyd Malver had been incarcerated for domestic violence against his then partner.
Yeah.
And so he had given 50 Cent instructions on what to do in regards to signing me up with a few other fighters. And I signed a contract on the basis that I was going to be fighting under TMT with Floyd Malver and 50 Cent.
Yeah.
When Floyd Malver eventually got out of jail, him and 50 Cent had a fallout, and I got stuck in the middle of it. And basically, it was just one of those things. I had my signature on a piece of paper. 50 Cent had his. Floyd hadn't signed, but his name was on the paper. He just could have signed because he was in jail. And so when Floyd got out of prison, I spoke to him on the phone. He said, listen, just tear that contract up and come see me, And so, but 50 Cent had given me some, like a signing bonus and a few things. And basically Floyd was saying to me, just give him back to him. And I was like, I can't do it. I can't give him the stuff back. Can you just give him that and I'll work it out with you? And he's like, I can't.
Yeah.
And so basically their fallout happened over, it was like $1 million.
Wow.
They fell out over $1 million and a girl, Miss Jackson. You know what I mean? A couple of rumors that were flying and whatever. And I got stuck in the middle of it. And basically working with 50 Cent was probably the worst thing that ever happened to me in life. But again, it was an experience. It's something that it's going to be heavily written about in my book.
Yeah.
I'm going to put all the facts in there. I'm going to show the contract that I signed, because at the end of the 3-year period, 50 Cent still owed me like $1.1 million. And then he said that he was going to pay me. And asked me to send him some bank details. Woke up a few days later with 50,000 US in my account. Rang him up, said that he'd made a mistake. Yeah. And he's like, that's all you're getting.
Got a couple zeros.
That's all you're getting. And I was like, well, I want to sue you, man. And he's like, I wish you all the best in doing it. He liquidated the company. So, and once he liquidated the company, couldn't get anything back. So took a $1 million hit, but hey, it's a story that can be told now.
It's funny that you say it's the worst thing that, you probably ever did or ever happened to you. And people would be dying to be in that position, man.
Man, I wasn't really like that, like I didn't care too much for his fame or whatever. Obviously, hanging out with him, there was a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And people actually thought I was Drake. At times we'd be hanging out, people like, hey, there's 50 Cent and Drake, and I was like, he would say to them, that ain't Drake, that's Billy the Kid. So we definitely had some cool times.
Yeah.
And as I said to you, obviously he robbed me, but I feel that I'm gonna make that back someday.
Yeah.
Through this autobiography that I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna be able to release the truth.
Yeah.
And once the truth comes out, well, then people are gonna want to talk. You know.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I'm not really worried. It's all part of the journey, all part of the experience, and everything that happens in life again happens by the will of God. So
That's
I'm cool.
right.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you do it all again? Everything you've ever done, man?
I would make changes.
You would?
I would definitely make changes. I would do things. If I could rewind the clock, I would, and I could know what I know today, I would have definitely done things a little bit different. Yeah. But again, you can't turn the clock back. You can only move forward.
Yeah.
We can either live in the past, we can live in the present, or we can live looking into the future. And my thing is, I like to live looking into the future.
Yeah.
The positivity.
Yeah.
I like to leave the negativity behind.
Yeah.
What's happened is happened. Sarah passing away, it's a part of my life that I can never get back. It's gone.
Yeah.
I could do anything to return that back.
Yeah.
So I just move forward. The losses that I've had, they've happened.
Yeah.
I can only move forward. I can only progress.
Yeah.
So, and I got to continue to live on and progress for my son and for my wife today.
Yeah, that's so true. I saw you were on an Instagram live. You're always on Instagram live, by the way.
Yeah.
With Russell Peters.
Yes.
How do you know Russell Peters?
Me and Russell Peters are really close friends, man. We've been close friends for many, many years. I met Russell Peters in America.
Wow.
Many, many years ago. He's a major boxing fan.
Really?
Yeah, and so he and I are really, really close. We've been cool for ages. I met him through Amir Khan. Yeah. Because me and Amir Khan have been mates for many, many years as well. Yeah. And we just, he gave me his phone number. I gave him mine. We just hit it off, and we always chat on the phone and talk. And he's always been a mad supporter. When he comes out to Australia, I'm always like right there, front row, sitting down, watching his comedy. Yeah. I always tell him to put me a few rows back because I don't want to get caught up in the mix of him making fun of me,
Yeah, does he do that?
Yeah, he does. He introduced me one time. He's like, listen, guys, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. His name's Bill Dib. You guys might not recognize him, but he's a world champion. But Billy, maybe if you lay down on the floor, they'll recognize you. So, and he's like, Billy makes a lot of sponsorship with the bottom of his boots. And I was like, that's not a cool shout out. And he's like, that's a real friend shout out. Because if I had you guys, that's how people know that we really know each other.
That's true.
Like, so, and then he's been back to Australia a few times, and we always catch up and hang out. And when I've gone to America, he's always pleaded with me to come live at his place and stay at his house. And I've always turned him down because he lives a bit far away from the gyms and stuff. He's like, I'll set a gym up for you in my house. I was like, nah, come on, Russell, I can't do that.
What a champion.
But we're really cool friends. I could message him right now and he'll message me right back. And anytime, whenever he gets on like Instagram Live, I don't always I just listen into him and stuff. But sometimes if he's on the subject of boxing, I'll just tap in and say, and the minute he sees me tap in, he'll accept me. It's funny because in my last world title fight, I fought a guy by the name of Tevin Farmer. Yeah. I lost the points decision, but Russell Peters is really close friends with both me and Tevin. Yeah. And he was really torn. So he says to me, listen, I told Tevin this and I'm going to tell you this. If you win the fight, I'm going to buy you a Rolex. If Tevin wins, I'm going to buy him a Rolex. So don't get upset with me. Yeah. I said, I won't never get upset with you. So when I lost, he said, look, I bought Tevin a Rolex. And I was like, you're a man. Cool. You're a man of your word. Yeah. You know what I mean? You promised that, you delivered. You know what I mean? But he's like, but if you had won, I would have bought you a Rolex. I was like, I know you would have, dude. So he's really cool. You know what I mean? That's
sick, man.
Yeah.
You've come across quite a few. I've seen Ronda Rousey comment on some of your stuff. Yeah. Mike, you had a training camp with Mike Tyson as well. Yeah. How was that?
Yeah, well, obviously the meeting with Mike Tyson was incredible. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was something that was set up by Jeff Fennick. Yeah. It was a 21st birthday gift to go to Vegas and train along Mike Tyson. It was an experience of a lifetime, man. It was a truly, truly wonderful experience. He was a challenge at the start.
Yeah.
But once we overcame once he overcame that thing where he started to trust me, and he knew that I wasn't, somebody that was gonna.
Yeah. Once
he had that trust in me, we just became really cool, man.
Yeah.
And like, even though we haven't spoken in years, he always asks about me. He always asks people about me and
really
checks in on me and stuff.
Wow.
And so, it was like, it's really cool. And the thing with Ronda Rousey is Ronda Rousey and I got close because I trained in her gym in Glendale a few times.
Yeah.
And we got really cool. We'd chat all the time, and I'd go past visit her at the gym, and I met her through her trainer Edmund, who was good friends with Billy Hussein.
Yeah.
So I mean, all these interactions happen through people that know people that know people. But I don't know what it is. A journalist from Yahoo Sports contacted me once, and he says, "What is it about you and famous people? Why did they gravitate towards you?" And I said, "I don't know." And I said, "I just try to be myself. I try to just be as real as I can." And he's like, "I'll tell you what it is, Chip." So what is it? He says, "You've been kissed on the ass by an angel." He goes, "Because you've been in places and accessed things that people could only dream of." And I was like, "I don't look at it like that." I said, I just be me.
I think that's what it is. Like when you said that, automatically, like, I'm a random dude. I'm not no famous guy and nothing, but I knew you were real. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I try to just get on everyone's level. You know what I mean? Like, there's one person in the world that I admire, but I would never like to meet him, and that's Michael Jordan. And people would say, "Why wouldn't you like to meet Michael Jordan?" I'd say the reason why I'd never like to meet Michael Jordan is that I think he's so bombarded by people that he hasn't got time for people. You know what I mean? And the thing is, every experience that I've had with famous people like Mike Tyson, Ronda Rousey, Nassim Hamed, Oscar De La Hoya, Shane Mosley, Bernard Hopkins, all these great fighters, Lennox Lewis, they've all given me the time of day.
Yeah.
And then to meet somebody like Michael Jordan and for him to not give you the time of day, that would really...
It'd crush you.
Would really crush me in the way that I feel about him.
Yeah.
So I'd rather keep somebody like Michael Jordan at a distance.
Yeah.
Admire him from a distance, you know what I mean? I don't need to be in his presence.
Yeah.
I can watch him on TV and admire that person, but when you meet somebody and they let you down in the way that they speak to you or the way that they react to you, your whole mindset changes about that person.
100%, yeah.
And so, everyone that I've met, I've been lucky enough to have a personal relationship with. Yeah. And like when Ronda Rousey fought in Australia, in Melbourne, many years ago, Sarah had just passed away.
Yeah.
And I was adamant that I wasn't going to go watch Ronda fight. And she was like, "You got to come watch." And I was like, "I can't do it. I can't do it." Like, I just couldn't leave Sydney. And she was like, "Listen, you got to come." And her trainer, Edmund, was a close friend. I was like, "Come on, man, you got to come." You know what I mean? Like, Ronda wants to see you. And I was like, "All right, I'll come." And so I went to Melbourne to watch Ronda fight. And at the same time, Anthony Mundine was fighting a guy called something Hatley. And Anthony had a really bad loss. And so a few days later, Ronda was going to be fighting also. I was like, kills two birds with one stone. I went to watch Mundine fight. He lost. And I went to watch Ronda fight. And I would remember asking Edmund, saying, "Hey, what's the game plan?" He's like, "We're going to outbox her." And I was like, "Man, please don't try to outbox Holly Holm."
Yeah.
Like, she's a former world champion, you know what I mean? It's like,
there's a bit of controversy around that.
He's like, "Trust me, Ronda can outbox her." And I was like, trust me, just get her to take it to the floor and smash her. Anyway, obviously didn't listen to me.
Yeah.
And obviously I still got a lot of respect for Edmund. He and I are still really close friends, but Ronda went in there and tried to outbox Holly Holm and got knocked out. Yeah. Spark cold, you know what I mean? When that happened, because I was with the team, we had to travel as a team. So everyone went back to the hospital. And the thing for me is that I had just spent 2 months and 10 days in a hospital alongside Sarah, who passed away. Yeah. And so when I went to the hospital, bring back all these really bad anxieties, and I was trying to get out of Melbourne that same night, but I couldn't get a flight till like the next morning. Or actually, I was lucky enough, I got like on a red-eye flight back. Wow. And when I got back home and I saw my mum, I just broke down because I had held all this in, because going to the hospital had put me in such a bad place negatively. Like it's such a negative place.
It is, man. I always say it's like it's like the opposite of the feeling you get at an airport.
Yeah. When I went there, man, and then I got home, I couldn't stop crying, and my mum tried all night to console me, and I cried. I must have cried from like 12 o'clock at night till like 6 in the morning.
Wow.
My eyes were bloodshot red. I just could not stop crying because I felt like maybe I was grieving, but maybe I didn't grieve correctly.
Yeah.
I don't know how do you grieve correctly, but
yeah,
it was so. Once I saw that happen to Rhonda, it brought some really bad emotions back, and I just I guess from that point I just said, I'm never gonna watch her fight again. You know what I mean? That was it, and I didn't. When she got knocked out again, I didn't watch it. So because I just when you have a connection with people,
trauma, man.
Yeah, it is. It's a really big trauma.
Yeah.
And I've had certain traumas and things happen to me in my life. I actually had one on the past weekend. We were away at Binacrombie. Something happened to a friend of mine, and that was very traumatic. But
really,
yeah. So like things happen. You know what I mean? But I'm just trying to learn how to overcome that. But it's a slow process. You know what I mean? Even though Sarah died 5 years ago, it's something that still affects me till today. And certain things that happen bring back bad thoughts of that
moment.
Yeah. So but it's a progressive thing, man.
Yeah.
I still try to push forward.
Yeah. That's all it is. Like it's a trauma. It's like, they talk about it with people who have anxiety. They say, try and find your triggers, you know what I mean? And that's what it is. Like it's literally just triggers for you.
Yeah.
That, bring up old feelings.
Well, certain things that happen obviously trigger old feelings, but maybe it's because I haven't dealt with them correctly.
Yeah. And
I'm trying to work
Who
through
knows
them.
how to like.
Well, I've actually hired a life coach now.
Yeah.
A mentor who's going to be helping me with things like this. So I think it's something that I need. I think it's important for my life to have that, so that when I do get on the circuit and try to inspire other people, and I can actually be real about how I've overcome it.
Yeah.
Because even though I did overcome Sarah's death, maybe there's still things that link.
So what I wanted to say with your with you saying with your life coach teaching you to deal with the traumas, I feel like if you were to go out and to want to inspire people, I think it's actually more relatable. Even though obviously for you as a person, I would want for you to be able to deal and overcome these traumas, but I think for people it's a lot more like relatable if you're kind of still feeling those.
Yeah, of course.
Those emotions.
And the thing is, no matter what you do in your life, you'll always feel them.
Yeah.
It's not something that you're going to like. Sarah passed away 5 years ago. Her death still affects me till today.
Yeah.
It's not something that you can just turn on and off.
No, yeah.
You can just train your mind to overcome it.
Yeah.
And see, when people in life, we have some things that you call uncertainty.
Yeah.
A tragedy hits your life, it's a time of uncertainty.
Yeah.
And the only way to find a way out of that is to find something that's certain in your life. And to go back to the certain points in your life. And so that's what I've tried to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Boxing's been a savior for me.
Yeah.
Sarah passed away, I just got back in the gym, started working hard, found things to motivate me.
Yeah.
It's very important, man, to find something that really gets your trigger points going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah.
Definitely. It's like on a much smaller scale, but like for people that wake up with no purpose, you know what I mean? They feel like they have no purpose.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like you see, like even in, your own crowds and people around you, you see people waking up and they're just going through the motions with no purpose in life. Like what are they really trying to achieve? You know what I mean? So it's the same sort of thing. Like
I think the most important thing for everybody out there and anybody that's watching this is to set goals.
Yeah.
When you set goals and you achieve them, you feel a certain satisfaction.
Yeah.
And then you can move on to the next.
Yeah.
Don't be a quitter in your life. You know what I mean? Never start something that you're not going to finish.
Yeah.
That's what's important in your life. If you ever start something, make sure you finish. That's when you get the satisfaction. You don't get it by starting it. There's no satisfaction in starting anything.
Yeah.
The satisfaction comes when you succeed.
Yeah.
And I often go to schools and I talk to kids about the importance of education in life, the journey of life.
Yeah.
And for me, the journey of life is very simple. in order to have any sort of success in your life,
Yeah.
you need to start with an education.
Yeah.
Because in each point of your life, this leads to another point. Education leads to knowledge.
Yeah.
Knowledge leads to power.
Yeah.
Power leads to success.
Yeah.
So, and you see, by having the education, you get the knowledge. The knowledge leads to power. And the power is not being powerful. Power in your mind. Power of being knowledgeable about knowing how to speak about something, how to deliver it. Exactly. Yeah. And then when you have that, that's when you can go out into the workforce and you can attain a job. You can attain a job that can lead to success.
Yeah.
And that's life. That's the journey of life.
Yeah.
And that's how I've tackled every single thing about me in my life and everything that I've tried to do. I've always tried to relate it back to school, back to if you study, you're confident. If you don't study, you're not confident.
Yeah.
That's how I always look at life.
Yeah. Are you what's success to you? What is it?
Success is not something that is financial.
Yeah.
To me, success is it's numerous things, but like for example, for me, right? My success came from being a professional champion, from having dreams that eventually turned into something that was amazing, becoming champion of the world.
Yeah.
Success to me was that my younger brother could go to school and tell his mates that my brother's champion of the world.
Yeah.
That was success. Because sometimes you could be champion of the world, but you might not earn any money. You could be a flyweight or a minimum weight fighter who fights at 50 kilos and you're champion of the world, but you're not earning real money.
Yeah.
Them guys don't earn real money.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So success is not by the amount of money you have in your account. It's the amount of, obviously, achievements you've achieved.
Yeah.
Things that you've set, goals that you've set. That's success to me.
Yeah.
And gratitude is very important.
Yeah.
Because along the way, there was times where I could have quit.
Yeah.
It's very easy to quit, but I always thought of people who were important to me and all the time that they had invested.
Yeah.
See, when you quit in your life, if you're a quitter, you're not really showing gratitude to the people that invested in you, the sponsors, the trainers, your loved ones, your family. So gratitude's very important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And obviously, when you're a successful athlete or whatever it is, you might not be able to pay people back with money, but you can pay them back with gratitude.
Mm.
And gratitude is money.
Yeah.
Because when you tell somebody, hey man, I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, that's like money to them.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It's in life, man. From what I've gathered from what you've said to me, man, like in life, you can get given things so quickly, and I feel like the faster these things are given to you, the faster life, has its way of taking things away from you. I think, like from what I've seen, like with you and your career and your just this story that you've told me today, you know what I mean? But you've had a willingness, and I think you're in the perfect sport to be called, a fighter.
Yeah.
Relating that to your life as well, man. Like you're just a natural born fighter, man.
I'll tell you a story. I'm not sure how much time we have left, but I'll tell you a story that about what you're talking about attaining things fast and then not having respect for it.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, my father, he had the ability to buy me a bike.
Yeah.
I wanted this bike. I wanted this green red line with tufts on it, with pegs.
Yeah.
I wanted this really cool bike with the gyro. It was like $600.
Yeah.
And my dad said, I could buy this for you right now, but I'm not going to. I said, Dad, please. Everyone at school's got these really cool bikes. I just want a cool bike, please. My friends have got mongooses and this and that. This would really make me feel cool, Dad. He said, listen, you're going to get this bike. I promise you're going to get it, but you're going to have to work for it.
Yeah.
I said, how am I going to work for it? He says, you're going to do things around the house, chores around the convenience store. You're going to do chores. You're going to cut the grass. And by doing that, I'm going to give you money.
Yeah.
And once you saved up $300, then I'm going to buy you that bike. And I'll tell you why I'm going to do that. So why is that? He said, because when I make you work for that bike, you're going to respect it. If I just buy it for you, you're not going to have no respect. You're just going to leave it out in the rain. But when you've had to work for it,
Yeah.
you're gonna put it in the storage room.
Yeah.
You're gonna make sure that it never gets a drop of rain on it.
Yeah.
You're gonna make sure that it never gets rusty.
Yeah.
You're gonna make sure it's always looking clean.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
It is.
Because if my dad had just gave it to me, I probably would have rode it for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then I would have dumped it in the backyard.
Yeah.
But because I had to pay for it, I was like, man, I worked hard for this damn
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm looking after it. And that's how I am in life now.
Yeah.
And that's how I will be with my child. I'll, if God blesses me with more children, that's how I'll be with my children. But I'm gonna be that parent that I'm not just gonna give my children things. I'm gonna make them work for it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make them earn it, so that they can respect it.
Yeah.
Because anything that's given to you without having to earn it is not gonna be respected.
That's right, man. And I
But
think
everything in your life that you attain by working hard for it, you're gonna show respect to that.
100%.
And that's what I believe.
It's an uncommon thing for Arab parents to instill that sort of, like, my partner's Australian, and her parents are very much so, like, you want something, you got to work for it.
Yeah.
And I find in this, it could just be in my community, a lot of people in our with our background, they are just given things. Their parents came from overseas, their parents worked hard, and they achieved what they wanted to achieve, and they don't ever want to see their kids struggle.
No, see, my father, he didn't do that.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, sometimes that kid turns out to be a little bit shady.
Yeah.
My father, he never allowed that to happen. My father bought a convenience store in Engadine, in the Sutherland Shire.
Yeah.
Locked us up in his convenience store, made us work hard for every single dime that we earned, just to show us that nothing in life comes easy.
Yeah.
My father taught us communication. He taught us customer service. He taught us how to communicate with people.
Yeah.
And that nothing in life comes easy.
Mm.
And so we think twice about, how when we like, it's very easy, like, to go and say buy $100,000 car. I'm just gonna go buy $100,000 car. No, you gotta think about the consequences of that. Think about the attention that's gonna bring to you. So I'm always thinking about every move that I make. I always think what would my dad think about that move?
Yeah.
Is that a smart move or is that a dumb move?
Yeah.
And that's life.
That's
life is a game of chess, man.
Yeah.
It's how you play it.
Yeah. Is that sort of why your dad? Is that part of the reason he didn't let you, or didn't want you to box for Lebanon? Was it like an easy switch to?
Yeah, it was like, basically, my father was, this is the exact words. Okay, you want to go to the Olympics? No problem.
Yeah.
Let's just say you go to the Olympics and you represent Lebanon. Because you're not going, but let's just say you did. And then he goes, then the draw gets called and it's Australia versus Lebanon in the first fight.
Yeah.
And you beat your fellow Australian.
Yeah.
Oh, you're proud. He goes, but then how do you come back home? This
Mm.
is your home.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to represent Lebanon? Move to Lebanon. Move everything that you have and move there. Never come back here.
Wow.
This is your country of residence. This is the country this is the flag that you carry. You're not carrying another flag. Do you understand that?
Wow.
So I was like, my dad was very, like, patriotic, you know what I mean?
That's massive. Was he born here?
No. He was born in Lebanon.
Really?
And my mother's born in Palestine.
Really?
I used to have to argue with my dad saying, Dad, I'm going to carry a Lebanon flag and a Palestinian flag. No, you're not.
Really?
So Dad, listen, that's about fan base. Having more fans. I've got countries behind me. He said, no. Australia's your only country, brother.
Really?
That's my dad. He's not like your patriot. He loves Lebanon, but he wasn't like, no. Australia gave you everything.
That's what
They gave you the opportunity to go to school. They gave you the opportunity to go to the AIS. They gave you everything they gave you, and you're the one that blew it by getting on that motorbike. Now don't stab the country in the back because you did wrong. They did nothing wrong by you.
That's massive.
Yeah,
I'm sure in our community, and
I know. Any other parent would have said, "Get on that plane."
Yeah.
Nah, not my dad. Not my dad.
That's massive.
Yeah.
That is massive. Like, big shock.
Yeah.
It's yeah. Anyone would have, like, my dad would have said, 100%, man.
Nah.
Go, I'll buy the flag for you.
Nah, not my dad. Not my dad. Not my dad.
Wow, man. Your charity work. I've seen a lot of stuff with charity work on your Instagram as well.
I work with a charity called Save Our Sons.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a friend of mine whose name's Ellie, who
Yeah.
has a son who suffers from a disease called Duchenne muscular dystrophy,
Yeah.
DMD, and it only affects boys.
Yeah.
In a rare case, it does affect girls.
Yeah.
And basically, he's a father fighting to save his son's life, trying to find a cure to slow the disease down.
Is there no?
There was no cure, but
Sorry. Yep.
I think he's managed to find some cures, something to slow the disease from progressively moving forward hard. But basically,
What does this disease do? Do you know? Or?
Basically, what it does is it's a muscle deterioration. You end up confined to a wheelchair, can't walk properly,
Wow.
can't do things on your own. And, this guy was just a train driver and founded this Save Our Sons charity. And now I'm one of the ambassadors for the charity, and I'll continue to be an ambassador for him because I love him to death and I want to see him save his son's life.
How long has this been going on for?
Many, many years, man.
Really?
Many years, yeah.
And his son's still around?
Still fighting it, yeah.
Wow.
But I've seen a lot of kids from the disease, a lot of kids that we've worked alongside have passed away from the disease. We weren't able to find the cure fast enough. And we still haven't found the cure. We're still working on it.
Wow.
We've just found things to slow it down.
Yeah. And what does the charity work go towards? Is it towards finding the cure or treatment for him right now?
Finding the cure.
Wow.
All of the funds go towards finding the cure and towards, making life easier for these kids that have it. Yeah. By buying them, wheelchairs. Yeah. Things to help them get in and out of the bathroom. So it's very sad, man. I'm blessed to be in one tact. Yeah. So it is my obligation to give back. Yeah.
That's what I take from you, man. Like, you're literally, like I see, you're just a person that is in a position of, like I've said many times, like you're in a position of, leadership and being an influential person, not an influencer. And you're just a man giving back and maxing out on life, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. Very inspiring, man. I'll be sure to look out for
thank you very much.
your book.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It should be out, hopefully, God willing, by Christmas time.
Oh, beautiful.
That's the plan. I'm working extremely hard on it now. I've got some great people helping me, and so God willing, December, guys, look out for the book. If it doesn't come out in December, then hopefully by Father's Day next year.
Yeah. I really appreciate you sitting down with me.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Just a dude from Western Sydney, man, and I really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Cheers, Billy.
Bye.